So a warm greeting to all. In last video we have discussed about inverse Z transform, and we have seen some finding of inverse Z transform from x of z, and that method we can call that as a direct inspection method. So now in this slide we are going to see the proper methods for finding inverse Z transform. So we can expect this kind of questions in part B for in Anna University examinations. Okay, so this is a proper definition for inverse Z transform. So the Z transform is going to convert a discrete time signal into a continuous frequency domain, right? So now the inverse Z transform is, again we are bringing that frequency domain to a time domain. So here we are calling that continuous domain as a Z domain, frequency domain as Z domain. From that we are converting back into a discrete time domain. So for in Z domain we have used summation. In time domain we are going to use integration. So here we are in time domain we are having discrete form of signal. So x of n, from x of z we are going to get x of n, and in time domain, so that we are integrating that signal with respect to dz, and here the integration is with respect to circular integration, because in time domain we used to have a summation of x of m, right? So it means we are having a continuous values of z. So in order to make up with the continuous values of z in time domain, we are having a circular integration in order to get x of n in inverse Z transform. So we are having 4 methods for getting inverse Z transform from Z transform. The very first one is long division, second is partial fraction expansion, third one is residue method, and fourth one is convolution method. So let's start with the very first method, that is long division method. Here we are having one example, that is f of z is having z divided by z minus 0.5. So we know the normal division. So it means, suppose if we are having a 5 divided by 3, it means we are going to divide 5 by 3. So likewise we are going to divide z by z minus 0.5. So the thing is, we have to make the remainder as 0. So this is called the proper division. So here we are having the dividend is z and divider is z minus 0.5. So now we are going to bring this to 0. So it means we are going to make a remainder as 0. So the quotient will be 1. So if we are going to multiply this dividend divided by 1, we can bring this to 0, right? So 1 into z will give z and minus 0.5. So here and after that one we have to change the signs of this one, and this plus z will become minus z, and minus 5.5 will become plus 0.5. So now we can cancel out this plus z with minus z. So at last we are having 0 value in the remainder part. So this is what the division mean, right? So but here we are having another term, this with 0.5. Now we are trying to eliminate this one. It means we are going to remove this, we are going to cancel out, or we are going to divide this one in order to bring the remainder as 0 value. So our aim is we are going to bring the remainder value as 0. So in order to bring the remainder value as 0, we are going to keep on divide the dividend with the divider, okay? And we can write this quotient as a f of z. So f of z in the form of 1 plus 0.5, this is the f of z. So from this one we are going to get f of n. It means it is in the frequency domain. Now we are going to convert into a discrete time domain, that is we are going to take inverse Z transform for f of z. So we need not to use any formula for getting inverse Z transform like what we have seen in the direct inspection method in the previous video. it is in the form of a series expansion. So we know the formula for Z transform, right? So the formula is summation of x of n into z power minus n. So if you are going to expand this one, you will be getting the very first value of z is, we are going to start from 0 for a causal sequence. So x of z power 0 is plus z power minus 1, it will end up till z power minus infinity. So it is a pure causal sequence. So the very first value is at origin, so that we are having the value as z power 0, right? So we can write these values, this coefficient of z as x of n. So x of n z power minus n, it is in the form of this one, right? So 1 comma 0.5 comma 0.25 and so on. So the very first value is at origin, and this 0.5 is located at n equal to 1 and 0.25 at n equal to 2. So likewise we can get the inverse Z transform by using this method. So another important thing we have to keep in mind by using this long division method is with respect to region of convergence, we have to change the order of the dividend. So let's check these conditions in another example. Here we are having one question that x of z is having z plus 0.2 the divided by z plus 0.5 into z minus 1. So now we can simplify this denominator, and we will be getting this value as z squared minus 0.5 z minus 0.5. And suppose if you are having the region of convergence, that is modulus of z greater than 1, it means for causal sequence we can write this denominator as such. It means we can start from the highest order of the z. So at last we have to end up with the constant. So we have to start with the highest power of z, and we have to end up with the numerical constant. If suppose if the question is for modulus of z less than 1, it means for non-causal sequence the denominator order has to be reversed. So we have to start from the numerical constant, and we have to end up with the highest degree of z. So this is the only thing we have to keep in mind while solving long division method. So if suppose if it is for causal sequence, we need not to change the order of the denominator of x of z. If suppose if it is for anti-causal or non-causal, we have to reverse or we have to change the order of the denominator of x of z. So here, so suppose if for modulus of z greater than 1 means we are starting the divider range from highest degree of z till numerical constant. So our aim is we have to bring the remainder to 0. Until we are bringing the remainder to 0, we have to keep on dividing this dividend by the divider. So we can write this x of z here, the quotient is the x of z. So x of z is here, and it is like in the formation of a general expression, that is x of z. So from this expanded sequence we can directly write the x of n value. So it is the coefficient of z inverse will be, so it is if we are going to expand this one, we will be getting this value, right? So we can compare this with the x of z. Now we can pick up the values from this sequence for x of 0 till x of 3. So here we are not having any x of 0, so we can write the value of x of 0 as 0, and in the place the coefficient of z inverse is x of 1. So the coefficient of z inverse is 1, and z inverse of 2 is 0.7, and z power minus 3 is 0.85. So likewise we can convert this given x of z sequence into x of n sequence. So now we'll check for another case, that if suppose if we are going to solve this for non-causal, that is modulus of z less than 1. So at that time we have to change the order of the denominator, right? So we have to start from the numerical constant, and we have to end up with the highest degree of z. So we have reversed the order of denominator, and again we have to do the division until we are bringing the remainder to 0. So here the difference is the quotient is having only the causal sequence. It means if the powers only in the power will be in -1. So here if you are going to expand this one, if you are going to substitute the value starting from 0 to infinity, we will get the powers of z only in the minus, right? So but whereas here we have reversed the one. So but and also in ROC it indicates that we are having a sequence lesser than the 0 and it will end up till minus infinity. So we can write, so if you are going to expand this less than the 1, so if you are going to substitute say for example n value as -1, we can write this z power n as n out of here the n value is -1, so minus into minus will give +1. So for non-causal the sequence will have z in the positive value. So here we are getting positive values of z. So that's a difference we can obtain by using with respect to ROCs. Okay. So another second method for solving inverse Z transform is partial fraction expansion. So this is the general term. So here we will be having, we may get 3 different forms of result. So the very first one is we will be having some the order of denominator will be greater than the numerator. So the very first thing we have to check here is we have to check for the order of z's in numerator and denominator. So always we have to maintain a higher order in the denominator than the numerator. So that is the normal value, that is a for that type of questions we will be getting some feasible solutions. So the thing is we have to get higher order in the denominator than the numerator. So that is the one type of solution we can obtain. And another one, suppose if you are having an equal number of orders in both numerator and denominator and all poles are different, and that is also another type of solutions we can expect. And the last one is we will be having a more number of similar poles, so it means repeated poles. So the very first thing is the usual thing, that very first thing we have to keep in mind for solving partial fraction is we have to check the order of the denominator. It should be greater than the numerator. And the second one is we may get some equal orders in both numerator and denominator. So in another one we may get some repeated poles. So the very first thing is we have to check the order of the denominator. It should be greater than the numerator. So if suppose if you are not having any such higher degree in denominator, at that time we have to go for the long division method. So until we are getting the highest order in the denominator, we have to do long division for the given x of z. So for solving partial fraction, the very first thing is the denominator order should be higher than the numerator order. If not so, we have to go for long division method. So we have to proceed with long division method until we are getting higher order in the denominator than the numerator. So after getting higher order in the denominator, we can proceed further with partial fraction method. So until that we have to proceed with long division. So this is the difference that we have to keep in mind for solving partial fraction expansions. So here we are having one example problem, that is for using partial fraction. So before solving this, seeing these numerical problems, we have to keep all these conditions in mind. So in next video we'll discuss about the numerical problems using partial fraction under these 3 possible solution cases. Okay, thank you.